Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2 coming to you tonight with another Garage Gun Talk. Just out here, I just finished cleaning up one of my rifles that I do all of my product testing with, my NS15, and I put all the original equipment back on it since the product reviews. And right now I'm charging my Olight, see if I can get it in frame there, the Olight Odin GLM. So I have that on that little magnetic charger. I love this thing. That is something about Olight that I really do like. So before I go put it back in the safe, I'm just charging that up. I got to make sure that all my weapons lights have fresh batteries in them from time to time, and the ones that are charged or can be charged are charged up. You know, they say it's a good idea when it comes to the new year to replace all the batteries and all your electrical stuff in your rifles, you know, your lasers, lights, any type of optic that needs a battery. Even though those things can last much longer, it's good just to do it once a year. And normally January 1st is the time I think a lot of people do that. So anyway, I'm just trying to go through some of my lights and flashlights and stuff and charge them up. I also wanted to talk about a couple other things gun related, and then I wanted to answer a viewer or subscriber question regarding the ACLU and the NRA. And I didn't know what was going on with them, but I'll talk about that in a moment. Another thing I want to talk about gun-wise and kind of ask you guys what you guys do. Do you guys clean your magazines? And the magazines that I often take to the range, I always clean them if they're easily taken apart. Like these PMags, I absolutely love these things because they're so easy to get apart. Of course, I don't have the right tool with me right now. Let me see what I got. There we go. I'll use a penny. Push that down. Take that base plate off. And there you go. I always clean all these things out before I put them back in the safe or in my boxes where I store my magazines. Because I wonder really, for the people that don't clean them, and you shoot thousands and thousands of rounds, before the springs go out, do you think that a dirty magazine can cause malfunctions? I don't know if it does, and I've never really heard any stories, but it does kind of make me wonder if it affects the follower, or if a magazine can get full of dirt, debris, oil, and crud. Does it slow down the follower? Does it affect the spring? I don't know, but I am like super duper OCD. I always clean these magazines up. So it's kind of a question for you. And I also want to talk about an upcoming project, because I'm doing this because of you guys. You guys remember that gun case thing I was doing when it came to my Mark 12 inspired rifle, which I actually just did a From the Vault video on my main channel. You guys said, Jason, you guys did it wrong. If you're going to use that pick and pluck foam, you got to go watch these other people that do the foam and they do the plasti dip and they make it look all nice. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are right. And so I've invested some money, which actually all this stuff is relatively cheap. So even if I completely screw this up, I'm not out much, maybe 40 or 50 bucks total. But anyway, let me show you what I got because of you guys. So I did buy some new foam and some other adhesives that I watched other people's videos, because, man, there's some other videos on YouTube of people doing this, and their cases look absolutely fantastic. So I did buy the spray plasti dip, which will go over the foam once I've plucked everything out, which I guess makes it a little bit more stable and unified. And I did buy the Loctite spray adhesive for putting the two foams together. And then I bought two sets, just in case, because I do have two cases actually, but normally I screw things up. But you guys can see over here, I got two sets of this stuff. So this is way bigger than what I need, because they don't actually sell foam the size that I need it at. But the top one here is the pick and pluck stuff. You guys can probably see those little squares in there. And then the bottom foam is just a solid piece. And I measured the case, the internal depth of the case. And so I think this one is an inch and a half, I think, thick. And this one is 2 inches. And I'm going to do the pick and pluck foam just like they do in those videos. And then I'm going to do like the plasti dip spray, the adhesives, and the hot glue. And I'm going to see what I can come up with. Now, there's some of you guys out there. I think Alan is one of them that sent me some photos of a case that he did. I like to think that I'm pretty creative, but I'm telling you, there are people out there that when it comes to like crafting, which I guess is what this really is, when it comes to cutting things out, gluing, all that kind of stuff, there are people out there that are true artists. And I don't know why I have never had that gift, because the case that Alan made and how he cut out the foam that he sent me pictures of, I mean, it looks like it was, professionally cut on a machine. I mean, the lines look absolutely perfect. I can't do that. I am going to have to cut this solid foam down, and I think I showed you in the past. I did buy this skinning knife from Old Timer that actually cuts this foam pretty well, and so I'll do that. I think I can do that and make that look decent. But the people that can cut out all of like the individual slots for all the different parts of the gun or the accessories, I honestly just don't know how they do that. But I bought 2 sets of this stuff and 2 of the solid ones, and you can see the other ones back there. So in case I screw up and make a mistake, I'll have an extra set. But if it works out, I can put another rifle in a different case that I have. And all this foam, these 4 pieces of foam, I think only cost me like $30 from like Foam Factory or something. Like, I wish they had more sizes. The cool thing is they have a bunch of sizes when it comes to the depth and how thick you want it, but they don't have it when it comes to the length. So they have smaller ones for smaller cases, and then if you have one for like a long gun case, it just comes in one size. And so you have to spend a lot of time cutting that down. So I'm going to make a video on my process on that. I'll probably start that tonight, because it's probably going to be a video that's going to take me multiple weeks to get done, because I gotta be patient. I am so impatient when it comes to these projects that I'll just come out here and I'll just try to, blast through it as fast as I possibly can. But I know when it comes to the plasti dip stuff, you're supposed to put on like 8 to 10 coats. Each one has to set for like a minimum of 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So, and then I have to cut it and fit it and all that kind of stuff. And I know from just the previous project that I did, I think it took me forever to get all the little slots cut out perfectly for me. So it's probably going to be a multi-week thing, and I'll probably do the video in segments. But I'll probably start tonight by doing the introduction and start that process. And I did save some of the other foam from the previous project. Like this. Like, here's a piece from the previous project. And because I told you I'm not very good with crafting, I'm actually going to try to do some of that plasti dip on this. I'm going to try to do some of the adhesive on this and put things together to see how it works and how I need to tape things off, because as I said, I always screw up things, always, when it comes to crafting. I'm pretty good with mechanical things, fabrication, but when it comes to crafts, I'm absolutely horrible at it. Absolutely horrible. So that's kind of an upcoming project there, and what I got going on, and talking about magazines and cases and that kind of stuff. So now let's talk about a little bit of politics, because I love it when you guys ask me questions, and sometimes you guys make me aware of what's going on that I wasn't previously aware of. And somebody asked me, what are my thoughts on the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, defending the NRA in the Supreme Court? I guess there's a free speech case. It's not a Second Amendment case. It's a free speech case, First Amendment case, before the Supreme Court regarding what the state of New York is charging and claiming the NRA did regarding certain activities. And I think there's a lot to unwrap here, because when you look at the merits of the case, I think the reason that the ACLU agreed to take this case up, and I guess they're doing it for free, which is absolutely ridiculous, because, well, I'll get into that in a minute, because I get so mad at the NRA and their legal bills and their attorney, William Brewer, who just sucks that organization dry. He's one of the reasons that organization is a shell of its former self. But anyway, I guess it's a First Amendment issue, not a Second Amendment issue. And, so you or you want to divorce yourself from how you feel either about, the organization like the ACLU or the NRA, and try to get to the merits of the case. But then you have to start to wonder about the intentions of the actors involved, and are they good or bad? So let's kind of break things down to answer the question, because I went and read some articles about it. I looked up what's actually happening and what's the ACLU is claiming they're defending when it comes to the NRA. Well, a little backstory, okay? The NRA has been under scrutiny in New York because they're incorporated in New York, and the Attorney General there, Letitia James, has been going after them because she believes that the NRA is the big Second Amendment boogeyman. Now, we all know in the real pro-gun world that that's not the case. I mean, I don't know anybody that talks about the NRA anymore. I don't know anybody that cares about the NRA. I don't see the NRA doing anything. I mean, when I first got into guns, the NRA was everywhere. You saw YouTubers talking about it. You know, you had Hickok 45. You had Iraqi Veteran 8888. Everybody was pushing join the NRA, donate to the ILA, the Institute for Legislative Action. They're the 800-pound gorilla in the room. They're the ones getting everything done. You know, they spent a lot of money in 2016 on the presidential election. They claimed victory and all that kind of stuff. And they seemed, I guess, maybe because from a PR standpoint, that they were this juggernaut. You know, they had NRA TV. They had people like Colion Noir on their payroll. And then as time goes on, the cracks in the foundation began to show. You know, you had all this money flowing into the organization. And then, like most organizations, they become corrupt when they get flush with cash and money and power. And at the top of this organization, in this pyramid, this Ponzi scheme essentially, is Wayne LaPierre. I mean, he was spending $30,000, $40,000 on suits and shoes and trips to the Bahamas and Bermuda. He wanted the NRA to buy him a house. You know, he's the executive vice president, and essentially he's the executive vice president for life. Even though he's technically elected every single year, he decides who's on the board, and the board is ineffectual, and they're all sycophants of Wayne LaPierre. So he's in there forever. The board decides who's on the board. You know, it's this crazy nepotistic entity. And all this money was flowing in. All these people thought that they were donating money under the guise of protecting their Second Amendment rights, when in actuality, the NRA is very ineffectual when it comes to the Second Amendment, defending our rights. They don't actually do anything. Many times they come in at the last minute and join a lawsuit when it's obvious it's going to win. They don't spend a lot of money on actual activism. They don't do any of that. It's just it's a complete mess. You know, it's a complete mess. It's an S show. I don't want to curse right now, but you guys know what I'm saying. And a lot of us got mad at the NRA when all this information came out regarding the corruption, the waste, fraud, and abuse. And so the New York AG took this and all this information that was coming out and thought that she could pounce. And I'll be very honest with you. I know that some people in the gun world will say that I'm wrong for taking this stance. I kind of support her a little bit. You know, she's doing it for the wrong reasons because she hates the Second Amendment, okay? And she actually thinks that going after the NRA is somehow going to hurt the Second Amendment because the NRA does something when in actuality they don't. You know, in a way, having the NRA there, taking all the heat, really helps groups like the GOA or the SAF or the other organizations that you can name, because they're not the ones in the spotlight. You know, everyone thinks the NRA is. But on the other hand, I absolutely cannot stand. I despise Wayne LaPierre. He needs to be. I honestly think he needs to be perp walked for all of the waste, fraud, and abuse. There is no way, with all the corruption that has come out, all the knowledge of what has happened, that he has not broken the law. There's no way that he has not defrauded the members of the National Rifle Association, saying that they're going to do one thing and then not doing it. There's no way that those books aren't cooked when it comes to the sweetheart deals they had with Ackerman McQueen, which was their PR and advertising firm. There's no way that there's not kickbacks and stuff going on. Speaking of their lawyer, his name is William Brewer, and he charges hundreds of millions of dollars to the NRA every single year. I mean, he just sucks them dry because they're under so much scrutiny when it comes to lawsuits around the country. He's just raking in the dough, and Wayne LaPierre just keeps giving him more and more money to defend him. And so anyway, it's a complete mess. And so of course the NRA is trying to survive. And for me, I want to see the NRA taken down, but not because of the reasons that the New York AG wants to, but it's because they deserve what they get. They wasted money. They did not hold true to their mission. They're not beholden to the will of gun owners. It's a corrupt organization top down. And because of that, I know most of you guys don't even follow the NRA, don't think about the NRA, don't donate to the NRA. So they're just a shell. They're just a shell of their former self. But anyway, that's the backstory that's going on. And so I guess there's a free speech issue, because I guess the NRA is supposed to, as an organization, have the right to say what they want. And the New York Attorney General is going after them for saying certain things. So what William Brewer, who's taking all this money from the NRA, I guess he doesn't want to go to the Supreme Court and actually defend the organization that pays him hundreds of millions of dollars, which is absolutely crazy. Because if I was the NRA, I'd be like, we pay you enough. You are defending us to the very end. But nope, they get the ACLU to agree to defend them. Now, the ACLU has made a statement that they do not believe in the core mission of the NRA, and they are opposed to the NRA on many other political fronts. But they believe in the First Amendment right of free speech and will defend the NRA in the Supreme Court case free of charge, because it's like that saying, I might disagree with you with what you say, but I'll defend your right to say it kind of thing. But I feel like this is making a deal with the devil, okay? And the NRA, which makes poor choice after poor choice, is making multiple poor choices. Number one, Wayne LaPierre is still there, okay? That's poor choice number one. Number two, William Brewer is still their attorney and their their legal counsel, and he's sucking that organization dry. And they're paying him so much money, it is his obligation to defend them in court, including the Supreme Court. If your attorney is not good enough to do that, then and you're paying him that, you need to fire him. Okay, so that they're just looking for free representation. Okay, because they have no money left. Okay, as I said, they're just a shell of their former self. So, mistake number one, Wayne LaPierre. Mistake number two, William Brewer. Mistake number three. This is my personal opinion, okay? And I'm sure there's attorneys out there. My wife works for an attorney. I'm sure there's lawyers that are watching me talk right now who are, watch this channel. There's a lot of snakes in the legal world. People we see the judges in these district courts and these, appeals courts, circuit courts. They play word games. Their true political motivation comes through in their actions and their rulings and their words and what they actually do. I believe the NRA is letting the fox into the henhouse, okay? Because we all know that the ACLU does not like Second Amendment rights. They will not defend your Second Amendment rights. They are opposed to the NRA. And I'm going to assume with them having the legal ability of things like discovery when it comes to this case and be able to get information, maybe do interviews and all that kind of stuff, they're going to try to get information that they can use later. Okay, and then what do you think the true lawyer's motivation is when it comes to the Supreme Court? It's one of those things where it's just like they're going to throw an attorney who maybe is not qualified at this and embarrass them, so the NRA does lose. So on the outset, they can say, well, we tried to defend these people because that's our mission, but then they give it a half-assed approach, or they do it in a way where they intentionally lose the case. Because there are smart attorneys out there that go, I'm going to intentionally throw this case because I don't like the NRA. It doesn't matter. Because, if the ACLU was truly about civil rights and all civil rights, they'd be about the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is a civil right. We all know it. But I think they're letting the fox into the hen house. That's what's happening. It's exactly what's happening. So it's three mistakes, and I don't think it's a good idea. I think if the NRA is paying William Brewer the amount of money that they are, he needs to defend them in this case in the Supreme Court. They shouldn't be looking for charity from another organization. But I believe that all these poor decisions are going to inevitably end the NRA. And I'll make the prediction right now that I don't think the NRA will be around in 10 years. Okay, I really want to say 5, but I say 10 because New York's not going to stop going after them. And why they are even incorporated in New York shows, I guess, a fourth bad decision, right? I know historically that's where they were incorporated, but now because they are incorporated there, they have to follow all the financial laws and all that, and they have the attorney general there that can go after them and so forth. Man, it's another poor decision. I mean, I know if I was starting a business, and whatever structure that would be, I would not do it in California, and I would not do it in New York. Why? Why would you do that? That's the most stupid thing in the world you can do. It's like these gun companies that either start up or incorporate in Connecticut or New York or New Jersey. It's like, why are you there? Why don't you go to Tennessee, Florida, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, something else, some other place that respects the Second Amendment? But nope, they got to do it in these places. But hey, I'm not a member of the NRA. I was at one point. I'm not a member anymore. I would never give money to them, not 1 cent, until Wayne LaPierre is gone. And even now, it was since Wayne LaPierre is gone, I can never trust them because I know that they're a corrupt organization to their core. So they make poor decision after poor decision. And I believe that in the end, this alliance with their enemy is going to bite them in the butt. I mean, that's it. The ACLU is not this virtuous organization. It's not. As much as people want to claim they are, they're not this virtuous organization. They are as political as everybody else. Okay? It's not like, the ACLU believes in Lady Justice. The statue of Lady Justice where she's blind and holding the scale. No, they're not blind. They're not blind. So my prediction is they're going to get inside information on the workings of the NRA to destroy them later or hand that information to their enemies. Or they're going to send an incompetent lawyer who will not defend them well in front of the court. Or they're going to send one of their best lawyers who will intentionally throw the case so the NRA loses. But they still have the PR win. But I don't feel bad for the NRA because they brought this on themselves. So, I mean, who do I root for? I'm definitely not rooting for the New York Attorney General, and I'm definitely not rooting for the ACLU, and I'm not rooting for the NRA. I mean, these are 3 people that all are kind of fighting each other that I'm like, man, it's like having 3 of my enemies all in a big fight. But I have no horse in that race. So that's my thoughts on what's happening in New York, the Supreme Court, the NRA, and the ACLU. So I hope that answers a question. So if you guys, once again, have any other questions you want me to answer and talk about, this is the perfect format, okay? I'm not doing like full long-form videos on the main channel. It's just out me here talking guns. And remember that I want this channel and these videos, these Garage Gun Talk videos, to be where it's just, friends talking about guns, guns, gun politics, whatever. I mean, we talked about magazines, we talked about cases, we talked about charging batteries and lights and optics, just regular gun guy stuff. So that's it. So anyway, if you watch to the end, what can the word of the day be? I want to say like NRA or ACLU, but that'd be way too easy. So let's say the word of the day is, oh boy. Okay, charging, because I'm charging my Olight with these little magnetic charger things. So charging is the word of the day. If you made it to the end of this 24-minute video, oh my gosh, do I ramble on or what? I'm so sorry. But it does mean a lot to me that enough of you guys watch these videos to the end. I mean, I'm humbled beyond words. All right, well, I got to go inside, upload this video. I got to put this gun back in the safe. I got a ton of stuff I got to do. I got to go to the range tonight. I got to go get my range bags ready. I got some invoicing to do. What else do I got to do tonight? I made a list. I got music I got to organize for a performance later this week, and I have to go back and make sure I have all of my digital ATF form tax stamps in all my different places where I save them. I have a Dropbox file for them. I have one on my computer, and I also print them and put them into a book. I got to make sure all that's up to date because I've had some approvals lately that I don't think I've kept up with. So I got to go back and make sure that's all there. So there you go. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining me here in the garage for another Garage Gun Talk. I hope you guys enjoy these. It means a lot that you guys just want to chat guns because I love guns. Hope you guys love guns. And just a great way of spending the evening. So that's it, I guess. So, as always, thanks for watching.